The last time I made a video on Monster Hunter Wilds, some of the comments were not so pleased with some of the things I said. I said that gamers didn't care much about 30 FPS. In the grand scheme of things, when a gamer wants to play a game, they'll play the game. Now, I'm not saying that they'll be willing to pay full price for the game if the performance is not the best, because gamers now have been burned so much, so the conditioning is in, which is a great thing. However, their interest in the game for the most part is of paramount importance. And some players are willing to not play the game at more than 30 FPS if that is where they feel they can actually gain enjoyment from. The game right now has a beta going on Steam. And believe you me, if you look at the comments from my video and then go and look at the Steam database numbers, you'll be asking yourself, what the heck? This is just the beta of the game. It's got 163,000 people, 916, by the way, in the app, and the all-time peak was somewhere around 463,000. So, first things first, people are curious about the game. That's the best analysis I can give you. I'm not saying, oh, this means everyone's going to go buy the game. No. It just means that this number of folk at the time that the game, pretty much brought the beta out, are interested in playing the game. The challenge, though, ladies and gentlemen, is actually going ahead to take a look at the game itself on Steam itself and kind of reading reviews and trying to figure out what in the world is going on. I strongly believe that we'll probably get a different picture when it comes down to it. But don't also be surprised, though, that the game pretty much gives you this, interesting metric when it releases, right? Don't be surprised when a lot of people still go ahead and buy the game nonetheless after all of the posturing and all of the talking. And I'm not dogging on anybody. I'm not ragging on anybody about it. I'm just saying that for the most part, gamers will focus and concentrate on a game. Now, here's the thing. The requirements were insane when we first saw them. They were asking you for like a Core i5-10600 or Ryzen 5 3600. Okay, no problem. They asked for a GTX 1660. Okay, no problem. You're looking at everything going, okay. And then they're like, well, hold on. You're going to play at, this is going to play at 1080, upscaled from 720 native resolution at 30 FPS. Wow. And then the recommended setting that they were asking was you to get maybe an i5 11600K or a Ryzen 5 3600S or Ryzen 5 5500. One of my favorite CPUs ever, $84 right now. Used to be $100 and something bucks, but it's gone down so much. It's AMD cannibalizing itself and cannibalizing the PS5 Pro even before it launches. 16 gigs of RAM RTX 2070, and or you can get a 4060 or you can get a 6700 XT. When you do that, you would then probably get the game to run at 1080, 60 FPS, which is interesting. Now, how are gamers going to take this? Well, number one, those who have high-end builds are going to brute force this, they're going to brute force this game and try to push the limits if they want to engage with it. And the beauty about the PC side of this whole conversation is you can actually get the game, and if your PC is just not cutting it to your own expectations, you can get a refund. Some people will stick with the game. They're like, I'm already here. I'm going to go ahead and play the game. Or they may get good, results and performance. Or they jump into the nitty gritty of, say some interesting stuff that you can do from, say, maybe INI files and all of the above, and you can get yourself some frame rates out there. It's one of those things where I think everybody kind of knows what everybody here is actually expecting. Capcom, for some strange reason this year, they find it very difficult to be able to give you an optimized game. They've been patching Dragon's Dogma all this while. It feels like every time I look on, stinking Twitter, I see a new Dragon's Dogma patch, a patch that fixes this, and this. The question, though, is what in the world is going on? I mean, and that's, I think, what the big question should be here. Is Capcom neglecting their internal, quality checks, or are they just in the position where their engines and their technology internally has not yet come to full realization that, hey, man, you're no longer making PS4 games? And this is why I told y'all that at the end of the day, the whole conversation about next gen is something that you really got to take with a pinch of salt, because it's pretty much, a bunch of new features and anybody can call a new feature next gen or whatever it wants to call it. However, the base level of making a video game in terms of the, the strategies, the tools that they use, in terms of the, depending on the studio, depending on the publisher, their processes will remain the same because they're best practices for them. And so a game like this is probably coming to this from the PlayStation 4 side, having leveraged, that kind of hardware in the past. And so having to go now and say, okay, we're used to making these games at 720p running at 30 FPS or even maybe less to be able to upscale them at the end of the day. How are we going to transition into this new expectation with games that are big? Like, these are not, say, small games. These are games that were traditionally big. You can get them to run at 30 FPS. So there's a lot that still needs to go in there in terms of this game. Not saying Capcom cannot make a 60 FPS game. I mean, their Resident Evil games, they run at that, kind of performance. But the Resident Evil game and the Monster Hunter game are just two different games. So there's work that needs to be done here. Now, I'm not saying go buy the game, enjoy 30 FPS or whatever. I'm just saying most gamers don't care about it. I mean, I'm not saying something that is new. Obviously, 160,000 of them are sitting there on a Friday night playing the beta, and over almost half a million, I guess I would say, on Steam by themselves have already tested it. This is not including the numbers on Xbox. This is not including the numbers on PlayStation. I think we're going to have a Dragon's Dogma style situation where the game's going to sell about close to 3 million copies, if not more, because Monster Hunter is very popular. Let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. I know this is something that's probably brewing, in the Monster Hunter community. In terms of the performance, everybody knows what's going on. Some people may just, go console, lock it in. But I think for the most part, the hardcore PC folk are going to stick with PC. They're going to just be there playing the game until whatever performance patches come in place. And then they're going to just go ahead and, update, play. Maybe if the game gets better, they're going to just play it. Dragon's Dogma really did teach me that, fans that want to just play a game will play the game. And then with Monster Hunter World, which has a very, very hardcore fan base, I don't see much different happening in this particular regard. Talk to me in the comment section. Like I said, thanks so much for watching the video. Hopefully we'll talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.